Hi, so in today's video, I'll be telling you about covert hypnosis and its impact on your feelings, or rather, lack of your feelings. And I'll be telling you about uh, shoes and about lotteries. So, if that's something for you, please stay tuned. And we are discussing today the next section of my book, Piglet. So off we go. Um, I wanted to start with the lottery. So I think it was modeled for me from basically from the old times when my dad used to, you know, uh, choose the numbers on the lottery, and he would buy those things when you had to mark which number you wanted to choose. And when I got back from Holland and I worked at McDonald's, then in a frog shop, I remember there was somebody standing in front of me who won the lottery. And then soon after that, when I was giving flyers in Krakow just for 2 3 days, then I remember when going on a train, I was sitting next to a woman who found a scratch card, and she said on the phone that, oh, she found a scratch card that somebody just left on that seat. So she scratched the numbers, she scratched it, and it turned out she won 100 zloty. And then when I was giving flyers, then I saw the same lady, and she smiled, and she took a flyer from me, and she got to the place, to the cafe to have that cup of coffee, as if showing me what she could all of a sudden do thanks to gaming, thanks to lottery. So, I think it was modeled for me, that you can go and try some form of gambling, so to say. And it was modeled for me since very young age, because my zodiac likes taking risk. Aries like taking risk, so they say. But I wanted to tell you more about the covert hypnosis, right? Um, how I've noticed um, its work on me, right? So, for example, you could eat dumpling and it was good. The temperature was fine, and then with the next bite, you can feel that it's all of a sudden too hot, which is totally impossible. And then you at Christmas I had the same with dumplings for borscht. I touched them and they were fine, and then for the little one, all of a sudden everybody says they are too hot, right? But then it's not from my perception, but my perception versus their perception, right? Yeah, that's what I meant. Um, I think the most um, unusual example would be with a tampoo that I lost, and I didn't have the feeling that I lost something. So, obviously you can just um, get rid of your tampoo when you go to the toilet and you pee, but you should feel it, So, um, yeah, and then I also remember when taking up the stairs, and during the time when I was writing my book, Piglet, the book about the system and gypsy magic, and covered hypnosis. So when I was writing the book, I used to come out just to visit my professor and to discuss my book. So when taking up the stairs in a university, I would feel so tired like never before. And for me, it was impossible because I was this long distance walker, and I always had lots of endurance in my body. And even when being a model during, drawing classes, when I was a model, I was also told that I was quite, that I had lots of endurance, that I could stay longer in one position without moving. And especially when going to a Jewish festival for the first time, not only I had a lot of, you know, so to say, miscommunication when it comes to visual perception on the way, so that I would form a belief that I wouldn't find, the building in Mjodova Street. But the way itself was very, very exhausting. And that wasn't a long way, because I have to stress it once again that I was a long distance walker. But when working at McDonald's, I had the same thing, 8 hours. I started working with 12 hours, and yeah, I could do so, but it was very, very exhausting for me. And then when I switched the shift into 8 hours, then all of a sudden I couldn't stay over there. Although I was considering to getting back to 12 hours, and it felt like it was a mission impossible. So that was unusual, and that was stunning, that it was as if the same amount of tiredness, and the tiredness that was pretty much overwhelming. And after work, I had to just keep my legs up high on the wall, because um, yeah, because I felt overwhelmed. Yeah. And when it comes to, for example, beer, I would meet Steve for beer in a bar, and we would drink beer, 2 beers, and I could feel drunk. And when I had 5 beers with Claudia and Anya and Piotrek, then I didn't feel drunk, and I felt like, oh, I could stay for one more beer. When it comes to, during the time of discovering the work of witchcraft, and during the time of working on Piglet, I also, wanted to find the right acupressure points on my body. So I was just learning with, a few videos here and there. But I remember from Kung Fu classes, when I had the nausea and when I felt like passing down, falling on the floor, then my instructor came over, and he did something like that. He was just moving my little finger from side to side, and that feeling of nausea, dizziness, it came out, passed away right away. So I remember that this was really effective. And when it comes to the hypnosis, you don't know it and you don't suspect it most of the time, but a lot of the symptoms your body exhibits, it's just a work of energy, it's work of hypnosis, and you can easily change that, influence that, improve your states, improve your feelings by finding those acupressure points in your body. But the point is to know what to press and where to, stabilize your body once again. Um, yeah. And what I wanted to tell you also is the adventure with the shoes, because it was when my father died, first at McDonald's, about my mother bought me new shoes, and I used them for about 3 months, and they were just like useless. I was always it always happened quite fast for me when I was using shoes, and I had to change quite frequently, but never after 3 months. So, so that was surprising for me. And then Dad died, and then I was looking for new shoes. But at the shop, I just entered and I saw the same shoes I bought, so it was easier for me to reach, because I actually chose nice shoes, but also cheap shoes, right? Right. So they were available once again, and the salesperson was studying me a little bit before she actually told me that there was no my shoe size. And my feeling was like she was, she was just checking if it just, yeah, that the idea appeared, and the thought occurred in my mind that she was just checking if I changed my mind with writing the book, finishing the book after my father was killed. And as I wasn't dropping the idea, so the shoes that were that day on sale, I was told that wasn't my shoe size. But I had a thought in my mind, like, go and check it, because they were actually, having the shoes exposed on the box of shoes, and they should be somewhere there in that line. And then yet another idea occurred. No, I will not be checking. So I think this was yeah, sent forth. And then And then I tried different shoes in my size, and it turned out they were too small. So I thought, how come? But this is impossible. It's gotta be good. I bought the shoes, and I was wearing them, and they were totally fine. And after 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, but about I think 2 months, I started to think about it. Oh, this was covered hypnosis. You know, the feeling that the shoes were too small when in fact they were good. This has to be hypnosis. And as I started to think that, walking in the streets and think that, and all of a sudden my feet started to hurt. But then I was in my mind like, but this is 2 months too late for them to wear. Like, how come? You know, the shoes were new and I used them for 2 months. There's no reason and no logic in here, right? Yeah. Um, and I have to tell you that a lot of the times I just had this coined as the recurring circle in my life with shoes, where my mother would be the one always pressing and thinking about my shoes and always saying, "Oh, we have to buy you new shoes." And I never wanted to do that because whenever I would choose the shoes I liked, which was hard, and whenever I would find them, then there was no my shoe size. That was the most frequently met scenario. Or if there was in my shoe size, it would turn out that they were too small. Yeah, and I also remember that she bought me once. Oh, I have to tell you at first that when I started to visit CCC shop where you actually have shoes exposed, and then underneath you can decide on your own what you want to try on, and you can reach for the right pair of shoes in that specific shop. Then in that shops, most of the time I would get my shoes. And I also remember with my mother when she bought me very expensive shoes, Salomons. I didn't want these shoes, and I told her explicitly I didn't want them. But she bought me those shoes, and then I just was coming back from the party. I entered the window through. I entered the flat through the window, and I just left the shoes just for, it seemed to me like for a few seconds, few minutes, and yeah, and they were gone. So that's it when it comes to today's video. So I think those patterns and those circles with, you know, the situation when you go and look for shoes and there is no right size for you, or the size you try on is your size but it still doesn't fit. This is just artificially created so that you have the recurring experience of thinking, oh no, I will not find the shoes I want, or it's gonna take a few shops before we reach, you know, before we find the shoes. Yeah. So all that shows you as if the spectrum of covered hypnosis and what areas it can influence and affect in your life. But I think, you know, discovering acupressure points is the thing to explore. Yeah, for everyone out there and for me too. And if you're curious about covered hypnosis and gypsy magic and the system, then go and buy my book. You will find the link in the description of the film, on my website, on my Facebook, Instagram accounts. And if you want to buy my course Amelia, you will find the info in the same places. So if you like today's video, please like, share, and subscribe. And thanks for watching.